Beginning the broadcast with some breaking news coming in. Now, Governor Bhagat Koshiyari has asked Eknath Shinde to prove majority in the floor of the House. In fact, Eknath Shinde will be proving the majority on Saturday, and this will be the ultimate test for Shinde Sarkar. Now that he has sworn in as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, now is the last bit where he is going to be taking to the floor of the House and proving his majority and his government's majority in Maharashtra. My colleague Ketan joins me for more on this. Ketan, Governor finally asking Eknath Shinde to prove the majority after the plot twist that Maharashtra has seen. This possibly can be the last leg.
Well, Griha, so this is just procedural because when any CM resigns, then the cabinet also resigns, and the governor looks for the other grouping or looks for alternative options or calls fresh elections. That is how the procedure works. Now, in this case, the grouping, the rebel MLAs plus independent MLAs plus 106 BJP MLAs had the numbers. So the governor has already seen the numbers, and hence he invited Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde to take oath. So now the next technical step is that he has to prove the majority on the floor of the House. So there is nothing exceptional about it. What is exceptional is about the very name of Eknath Shinde, a leader of a rebel camp, although they have the two-third majority, whose party status is yet not clear. Being brought out and being presented by BJP, and more shocking is what is happening inside the BJP, because Devendra Fadnavis said that he'll play a kind of a mentor, supporter of this government. He won't be a part of the government. Suddenly, BJP chief JP Nadda tweets and things change. And as a loyal soldier of the party,
Ketan, I'm afraid I'll have to just interrupt you here. We are getting a reaction from Mr. Eknath Shinde. Let's quickly take our viewers to what Mr. Shinde is saying.
खरं म्हणजे राज्याच्या पुढच्या वाटचालीसाठी, राज्याच्या प्रगतीसाठी किंबहुना जे काही प्रकल्प आपण हाती घेतले होते, काही अडचणींमुळे रखडले आहेत, त्यातून आपण टाइम बाउंड जे म्हणजे बिफोर टाइम जे प्रकल्प पूर्ण करण्यासंदर्भात देखील आज पहिल्याच कॅबिनेटमध्ये चर्चा झाली. त्यामध्ये पीक पाणी आढावा असेल, जलयुक्त शिवार असेल, मेट्रोचे प्रकल्प असतील. राणे साहेब देखील या ठिकाणी उपस्थित आहेत. मी त्यांचं मनापासून स्वागत करतो.
all the pending projects and all the projects that were planned for the development of the state.
लोकांना अपेक्षित असलेलं काम आपल्याला करायचं आहे. राज्यामध्ये जी जनता आहे त्यांना अपेक्षित काम सरकारच्या वतीने पाहिजे असतं.
The work that people expect from us.
पहिल्याच बैठकीमध्ये जे प्रकल्प सुरू केले, समजा युती सरकारमध्ये आपल्या जेव्हा देवेंद्र फडणवीस साहेब मुख्यमंत्री होते त्यांच्याही काळात काही सुरुवात झाली, ते काही अगदी प्रगतीपथावर आहेत, अंतिम टप्प्यामध्ये आहेत आणि ते पूर्णत्वास केले पाहिजेत यासाठी देखील
certain developmental projects that are under progress, and there are certain which need completion.
सर्व समाज घटक सर्व ज्या म्हणजे अगदी कोकण, पश्चिम महाराष्ट्र असेल, उत्तर महाराष्ट्र असेल, विदर्भ असेल.
Cabinet we discussed that. We also discussed the upliftment of all the social sections, all the different sections of the society.
आज पहिल्या दिवशी काही जास्त बोलत नाही. आपण भेटत राहू आणि
backward sections.
देखील आम्ही घेत राहू. शेवटी आपल्याला राज्याचा विकास आणि जे काही विकासाला गती द्यायची आहे त्यासाठी आपण कटिबद्ध आहोत. राज्यातल्या जनतेला अपेक्षित असलेलं काम, आणि मी आपल्याला पुन्हा एकदा सांगतो, आमच्याकडून होईल. त्यामध्ये कुठेही आपल्याला माहित आहे, आम्ही सगळेजण आता देवेंद्रजी फडणवीस साहेब आहेत, त्यांचा देखील कामाचा ओळख आणि कामाचा त्यांचा जो काही अनुभव आहे आणि त्या काळामध्ये देखील आपण पाहिलेलं आहे. त्यांच्या सरकारमध्ये देखील मी होतो आणि आम्ही समृद्धी महामार्ग, जो बाळासाहेब ठाकरे समृद्धी महामार्ग जो त्यांनी सुरुवात केली, आज हा राज्याचा हा गेम चेंजर प्रकल्प ठरणार आहे. आणि त्यासाठी असे प्रकल्प जे आहेत हे वेळेत पूर्ण करणं आणि नवीन प्रकल्प सुरू करणं हेच आमचं उद्दिष्ट आहे. शेवटी राज्यातल्या जनतेला काय पाहिजे, राज्याचा उत्कर्ष पाहिजे, राज्याचा विकास पाहिजे, सर्वसामान्य लोकांना न्याय देणारं सरकार पाहिजे, लोकांच्या मनातलं सरकार पाहिजे. आणि आमचा अजेंडाच आहे की हिंदुहृदय सम्राट बाळासाहेब ठाकरे यांची जी काही हिंदुत्वाची भूमिका होती ती भूमिका आणि या
Who's the new
राज्यात
Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde, and his message is clear before he goes ahead on Saturday to prove a majority on the floor of the House, as has been asked by the governor in the state. He's talking development. And he has started from the word go right after his oath taking. That has happened just a short while ago at 7:30 this evening. He is talking development, and that's how Eknath Shinde would like to start. Let's also begin this broadcast with this very week-long Maharashtra political crisis. Now, this ended in the rebel Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde being sworn in as the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Now, this was twist number 1 today. We're calling it the Maha Twist. Shinde evoked the name of Bala Sahib Thackeray during the oath-taking ceremony. BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis also took oath, but as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Now, remember, after saying that he wouldn't be part of the Maharashtra government and he would in fact support Eknath Shinde from outside, twist number 2 came when, after JP Nadda put it out that Fadnavis should in fact be a part of the Maharashtra government, a decision later sealed by Amit Shah himself. In fact, Fadnavis agreed to be the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Now, Eknath Shinde, who led the rebellion against the ex-Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, called previous Shiv Sena alliance with the Congress and the NCP as unnatural. He also added that development will be the focus of his government. Pretty much similar sentiments that he was mouthing in that reaction that we were playing out for our viewers. Other BJP leaders congratulated Eknath Shinde, and this includes Uddhav's cousin and MNS chief Raj Thackeray. Now remember, Raj Thackeray had also led a rebellion within the Sena and formed his own party, the Maharashtra Nav Nirman Sena, some years ago. But he had been fairly silent when this Maha drama was unfolding. Shiv Sena, the party's most famous rebel, perhaps even more than Eknath Shinde, he in fact waited till the last to tweet this out, and this could be seen as a dig at his cousin Uddhav Thackeray. In fact, he said Raj Thackeray went on to tweet, and he in fact put it out there, and I'll quote him here: "When anyone misunderstands one's good fortune as one's personal accomplishment, therein begins the journey towards one's decline." Unquote. Now, that was Raj Thackeray taking that apparent dig at Uddhav. Also, NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar, in his first reaction, remarked that taking away the MLAs out of the state worked in the favor of Eknath Shinde. Meanwhile, opposition leaders have criticized the usurping of power in Maharashtra. President-elect Yashwant Sinha has said that any government which believes in secularism and doesn't believe in Hindutva is unsafe in India now. Jairam Ramesh of the Congress party also said that developments in Maharashtra are shameful for a democracy like India. And we're getting my colleague Sandeep, who is joining me live on the broadcast. Sandeep, you know, I was just taking our viewers through all that has happened in Maharashtra today, the Maha drama, the Maha twist, like we are calling it. You know, incidentally, nobody would have thought that it would be Eknath Shinde who would be taking on the Chief Minister's chair and not the Deputy CM. And it turns out to be otherwise. It has been a complete role reversal when we talk about Shinde and Fadnavis in this case. All right, I've been told that Sandeep is no longer with us. We seem to have lost that link. We'll try and reconnect with Sandeep or Ketan, who's also standing by on this particular story, the big Maharashtra twist. We are also getting you visuals on your screen from that swearing in, the oath-taking ceremony that happened today. And there you have it, Eknath Shinde on one side and Mr. Devendra Fadnavis on the other, along with the governor of Maharashtra, Mr. Bhagat Koshiyari. And now governor has in fact asked and invited Eknath Shinde on Saturday to prove majority on the floor of the House. So that is going to happen on Saturday, where Eknath Shinde, a procedural message there by the governor, where he's asked Eknath Shinde to come and prove his majority on the floor of the House. Ketan, my colleague, is back with me on the broadcast. Ketan, we were talking while I had to interrupt you because Eknath Shinde was speaking. Now, on clear lines of development is where he is going to start on day one. And he has begun. That was his message, pretty much amply clear, something that you were translating live for us. Just take us through all that he has said. And of course, this Maha plot twist that we were talking about when we got interrupted because of Mr. Shinde.
Well, there are three things to the whole story. One is the Maha plot twist. Second is what Eknath Shinde said. Now let us be the devil's advocate for a while. Eknath Shinde, the leader of the rebellion, is an astute politician. He is a complete hands-on politician. He's a 24/7 politician, and he knows his craft well. He has served in different positions. He started off as a corporator, and he's been the cabinet minister, and now he's the chief minister of the state. So one expected for him to make the right noises. What I'm really amazed and wondering is that Devendra Fadnavis also comes with all these credentials. He was also mayor of Nagpur, and he went on to become the chief minister of the state. So how can two, जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं, एक म्यान में दो तलवारें. So it's a case of that. You have two really astute and 24/7 politicians, and one has been a chief minister, and he is forced because of the political happenings to become a deputy CM because his party high command has said so, and the leader of a camp is the chief minister. So this political dichotomy, one really wonders how it will impact the functioning of the government. I have Anil Desai here. I will try and speak to him. Anilji, okay. About the reaction of, Eknath Shinde just has taken the oath of as the head of the government. So he has said that he complete the
only thing is
project
that,
and all of that.
had it been done in 2019, I don't know what the Chanakyas of Bhajapa. The BJP, which even after giving the assurance could not fulfill it that time. Had it been done that time, Shinde would have been the chief minister at that time only. What was the issue?
Another shocker is
it is just conspiring against the party, not only the individual. They want to demoralize the party.
Arvind sir, another shocker that has come is Devendra Fadnavis, who has been the chief minister. At the last moment, his party high command has asked him to be the deputy chief minister, and he's sworn as one. How do you see that development?
Now, the people who have left Shiv Sena should really learn from it. Learn from this, what it means by the Pakshadesh. What is the party's orders? He has obeyed the party's decision. What our people have done, just think of it and you'll find the difference.
One last question. Eknath Shinde's party status is still not clear, and he's made the chief minister, a leader. What is the next step for Shiv Sena?
You are right. I welcome this question. How come the honorable governor can ask a party which doesn't establish as a party, doesn't know, how come he can call him for the, because when you call a chief minister, that means that party has been invited to make the government. Is it not? So which is that party which has been invited by the government? Defection party. And then secondly, the majority party has not been asked to form the government. Then the third is, there is a disqualification case is pending in the court. Until the honorable governor is invited to take a chief minister.
So is Shiv Sena going to court against this?
It's a mockery of democracy.
Is Shiv Sena going to court against this?
It's not. We are there. The petition is pending in the court. So they are making a mockery of the democracy is going on.
Sure. So that was an unplanned interview, but we had Arvind Sawant, South Mumbai MP and party spokesperson, that the Shiv Sena rebel MLAs need to learn something from Devendra Fadnavis, how to follow party discipline. But he also said that the governor, it is shocking that how the governor could recognize a rebel faction. And clearly the party seems upset at the turn of the events. Griha?
Right, Ketan, thank you so much for joining us. We will, try and get in more developments. Meanwhile, there are some political reactions that we'd like to play out for our viewers on all that has happened through the day. Let's first take a look at that.
माझ्या वरती शिवसेना संसदेत आली नाही, येणार नाही. चढउतार होतात, बंद होतात. यापूर्वी सगळं उजवानी बंद केलं. ते आमच्या पक्षात आले, काही झालं नाही.
सर, कितनी खुशी है, एकनाथ शिंदे जो है आपके भाई हैं, मुख्यमंत्री पद अब उनके पास है?
हम लोग खुश पहले भी थे, अभी भी है. आज सीएम बनने के बाद ऐसा नहीं कि आज हमारा ये जो गठ है बना हुआ है, ये कुछ महाराष्ट्र का विकास होएगा, इसके लिए बना हुआ है.
लेकिन उद्धव ठाकरे की शिवसेना की तरफ से जो है उनको बहुत विरोध झेलना पड़ रहा है. क्या कुछ कहेंगे उसके लिहाज से?
नहीं, विरोध झेलना नहीं पड़ा. जो 50 एमएलए थे, उनके बाद शिंदे साहब को उन लोग लेके गए और उनके बाद उन्होंने ये किया कि तय किया तो अपने को भाजपा के साथ में जाना है.
लेकिन आपको लगता है कि उद्धव ठाकरे जी की सबसे बड़ी गलती ये थी कि महाविकास आघाड़ी के साथ वो चले गए थे?
नहीं, पहले से शिवसेना ये शिवाजी हिंदुत्ववादी के लिए बना था, शिवाजी महाराज के. तो ये जो अपना शिवसेना है, तो राष्ट्रवादी और कांग्रेस से युति बनाने के बाद ही ऐसा कुछ चल रहा था.
एकनाथ शिंदे जब गुवाहाटी गए थे या सूरत पहुंचे थे, घर में कुछ खबर थी, क्या कुछ बताया था?
नहीं, कुछ खबर नहीं थी, हम लोग को मालूम नहीं था.
मुख्यमंत्री पद ही देवेंद्र जी ने दिया है, क्योंकि हिंदुत्व के बारे में शिवसेना पक्ष प्रमुख की भूमिका बदल रही थी और बाला साहब का विचार हिंदुत्व और महाराष्ट्र का विकास हे महत्त्वाचं वाटल्यानं त्या ठिकाणी अशा प्रकारचा एक अभूतपूर्व निर्णय देवेंद्रजीच्याच नेतृत्वाखाली घेतलेला आहे.
I would say that whatever has happened has insulted democracy further, has rather lowered the standards and the respect of towards politicians in the eyes of the people. Because this naked dance of the muscle power and the money power has really disappointed me deeply. Because we work so hard. We don't work for such tantrums.
All right, we are breaking this tweet by Mr. Mahesh Tapakse, who is the spokesperson of the NCP. Now, he has put out this tweet very, very short while ago, where he said that after the change in the Maharashtra government, I'm quoting him here, he says that Sharad Pawar has got income tax notice for election affidavits of the year 2004, 2009, 2014 and 2020. He goes on to ask in his tweet, is it purely coincidental or something else? This is the latest tweet by Mr. Mahesh Tapakse of the NCP, where he's claiming that ever since that shift of power in Maharashtra and ever since Eknath Shinde taking on as the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra with Mr. Fadnavis as his deputy, there have been income tax notices that have been sent to Mr. Sharad Pawar for election affidavits for the years of 2004, 2009, 2014 and 2020. And he also is questioning if this is merely coincidental. Mr. Tapakse now joins me on the phone line. Mr. Tapakse, very, very interesting tweet that you have put out. Income tax notices to Mr. Pawar. Now, you are, obviously trying to read between the lines. We are doing that because you have said it cannot be, purely coincidental ever since this government has now taken over under Mr. Eknath Shinde and also Mr. Devendra Fadnavis.
Well, Mr. Pawar just had a press conference at his residence, and in which he showed the notices to all the press people who were present over there. And now a person like me just wonders whether all these things which has happened in the last entire week, and after that Mr. Pawar getting these kind of notices for an election affidavit 2004, 2009, 2014, and then recently concluded his last MP election of Rajya Sabha of 2020. Is it purely coincidental, or is there something else to be read between the lines? So this is the natural thought which came to my mind, and I'm just making people aware of it.
But Mr. Tapase, what do you suggest? Because now that Mr. Shinde has been taken, he's taken charge as the chief minister. He's also spoken as a recently sworn-in chief minister of Maharashtra, where he is batting for development in the state. But we have seen what is the kind of drama that has unfolded. Of course, the MVA is out now. Your government is no longer in power. This is something coming just today. The questioning and the timing is something that you're going ahead and questioning, but it can be challenged.
I'm just saying it's whether it's absolutely coincidental or there is something else. I know I'm not saying anything, but it raises certain suspicion in the mind of leaders in the opposition. Like Mr. Pawar is one of the tallest leaders in the country who's opposing the Modi government with tooth and nail. So election affidavit being benched, election affidavit 2004 being challenged in 2022 is something which is absolutely unheard of as of now. But it doesn't matter. Mr. Pawar is very confident. He has all the documents. So he'll definitely answer. Now, income tax is a central government agency. It's not a state government agency. It's a central government agency. They are free to make any investigation in any kind of dealings or any kind of affidavits they may feel. But also, Mr. Pawar mentioned that a lot of notices have come to legislators in Maharashtra who are from the non-BJP political parties. So this is also what Mr. Pawar just mentioned. He just said, somebody asked him, do you think there is pressure from investigative agencies? So he just said, look, I've been in the public life for 55 years and look, I am also getting notices. That's all he said. So here I'm just asking, is it absolutely coincidental or there is something else to it? Let the BJP answer.
And Mr. Tapase, now that Mr. Shinde has sworn in as the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra, your words on that, and also a bit about how Shiv Sena, the Uddhav Thackeray faction, is still determined to actually increase their footprint, because we saw earlier in the day how the Shiv Sena leaders are trying to go into the various places in Maharashtra, get in those forms so that they can get in more people as part of the Shiv Sena cadre. Do you think the party is completely shattered and dismantled, or there is still some room left that it can actually once again resurrect itself?
Yeah, first of all, my compliments to Mr. Eknath Shinde on being sworn in as the new Chief Minister of Maharashtra. But let me tell you here again that no party can ever get totally diminished, and especially parties who are there from last 50 years and very dominant and very proactive in regional issues. So those parties can never be out of shape. So, and there has been some factional issues with the Shiv Sena. Some legislators have broken it. But does it mean that the cadre of the Shiv Sena has gone? Does it mean that district president, taluka presidents, and whatever that national committee that they have is broken? It's not like that. And ultimately, most of them, supposing if they have gone, that then still the voter who has voted in the name of late Balasaheb Thackeray is still with Uddhav Thackeray and family. So I'm very certain that as soon as the Uddhav Thackeray family hits the campaign trail in Maharashtra, people are going to come, people are going to, offer their entire support to the Thackeray family.
All right, Mr. Mahesh Tapase, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Mahesh Tapase has just tweeted that there are income tax notices that are being sent to Mr. Sharad Pawar, and also claimed that it cannot be incidental now that there is a new government in the state of Maharashtra. These notices coming to the NCP chief, Mr. Sharad Pawar, cannot be incidental. Let's shift focus now. From Maharashtra, we are heading to Udaipur, and the latest in the Udaipur killing case is that the accused Riaz Akhtari and Ghoz Mohammad have been sent to judicial custody, and this has happened till the 13th of July. Meanwhile, the investigating agency, the NIA, has said that there can be a bigger group involved in the case and just not these two accused. According to its preliminary inquiry, there may not be any terrorist group involved in the murder, but a terror gang. On the other hand, it has also said that some media reports about the links of the two accused with some terrorist outfit is based on speculation. Earlier, amid the tensions, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot met with the family members in Udaipur today and handed a cheque of 50 lakh rupees to the kin of the deceased. Speaking about the case, the Chief Minister said that the case may have a possible link with Pakistan and a terror angle is currently being looked into. Post his visit, the Chief Minister held a meeting with officials of the state pertaining to law and order situation over this Udaipur incident.
हमने तत्काल त्वरित कार्य करते हुए दोनों मुलजिमों को पकड़ लिया, एसओजी एटीएस को केस दे दिया और पूरी रात भर में पता लगा लिया कि इनका अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगठनों से संबंधित है ये घटना। इसके मायने होता है कि आतंकवाद से संबंधित घटना है। ये कोई दो धर्मों के बीच में झगड़े होने वाली बात नहीं है। इसलिए जब ये यूएपीए के अंतर्गत जो आतंकवाद गतिविधि होती है उनकी धाराओं में केस दर्ज कर लिया गया एसओजी द्वारा।
मेरी मुख्यमंत्री जी से बात हुई है कि उन्होंने हमारी फाइनेंशियली हेल्प भी की है तो और मेरे को एक गवर्नमेंट जॉब देने का आश्वासन भी दिया है। हमने हमारा सेल्फ डिफेंस तो मांगा ही है कि हमको तो कम से कम प्रोटेक्शन दिया जाए। मेरे फादर को प्रोटेक्शन नहीं मिला तो हमको तो मिलना ही चाहिए। तो हाँ, इसका भी तो आश्वासन तो दिया है और बाकी का ये है कि जिन लोगों ने ऐसा कुछ किया है उनको तो फांसी की सजा से कम कुछ होना ही नहीं चाहिए।
A 19-year-old medical student from Chulaimedu in Tamil Nadu, aspiring to become a doctor, died by suicide over the fear of NEET examination. He was found hanging from the ceiling of his house. He was rushed to the KMC hospital there where he was declared brought dead. This boy, who was reportedly preparing for NEET this year, had failed the examination in his first attempt. Let's now talk about the monsoon mayhem, and this news report is coming out of Manipur. At least 8 people have been killed and 50 went missing after a massive landslide struck the company location of 107 Territorial Army of the Indian Army that was deployed near Tupul railway station in Noni district of Manipur. The incident took place at Tupul Yard Railway Construction Camp on Wednesday night. And according to officials, 8 bodies have been retrieved so far, and this includes those of the 7 Territorial Army personnel. And in fact, several others are feared to be trapped inside the debris. Rescue operation is currently underway. In fact, President Ramnath Kovind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi have all condoled the deaths of the people in the Noni landslide. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi has also reviewed the landslide situation caused due to incessant rainfall in Manipur with Chief Minister Biren Singh and assured full possible support from the central government. My colleague Nibir Deka now joins me on the broadcast for more. Nibir, this has been very, very unfortunate what has unfolded in Manipur. Have the rescue and relief operations continuing? Because the last we heard, it had to be stopped because of, the weather mayhem.
Yes, indeed. The rescue operations are continuously being done, and as of now, still 27 people are missing, and based on the rescue operations, 6 civilians have been recovered. 20 from the 107 in the battalion TA have been recovered, and over 8 people have been confirmed to have died in the massive landslide that occurred at the None district. And that landslide occurred because of the Tupol river that caused one of the landslide. And around midnight, the landslide occurred near the Jiribam to Imphal Road railway line. So the full-scale rescue operations continues and the rescue operations are done by the Indian Army and Assam Rifles. And as we speak, more and more bodies have been retrieved. However, 27 people are still missing in the incident.
All right, Nibir, thank you so much for taking us through all that is happening as part of the relief and rescue operation in Manipur. But unfortunate incident that has claimed 8 lives and 13 people are injured and many are still missing. And this operation is continuing. We are continuing to track all the developments pertaining to the rescue operations, and of course there is word coming in from the central government also that has in fact said that ample assistance to the state government will be offered. And continuing with the rain pain, it also gripped two big metro cities today, Delhi and Mumbai. Commuters were halted in their tracks as fierce rain clogged the roads, which resulted into traffic and waterlogging. Rain slashed Mumbai, leading to waterlogging at various parts. Roads in Bandra and Worli were all waterlogged. In fact, in Maharashtra's Thane area, rains wreaked havoc. The highway in the area is choked with traffic, and as per the IMD, Mumbai is expected to see more moderate spells in the coming days. And if we take a look at the national capital, this too witnessed heavy rainfall, giving Delhiites the much-needed relief from the heat, although it caused massive traffic jams in Delhi NCR. Let's now shift focus and get you this other story, and this one is coming in from Bengaluru. Remember, we were bringing you this particular story and we'd like to call it a Mirror Now impact, because after Mirror Now reported about how two sisters in the state of Karnataka were assaulted and also stripped, and all this because they were not able to repay an education loan. Now the Home Minister of the state has stepped in. Mr. Araga Gyanendra expressed his condemnation on the horrific incident of the two women assaulted by loan sharks. We'd call them that, the money lenders. Two sisters were stripped and assaulted for not being able to repay that education loan in Karnataka's Anekal Taluk. 3 people have been booked, 2 people arrested, and one is still, absconding. One person who is still accused is absconding in the case. However, we have now managed to get in a word from Mr. Araga Gyanendra, who has condemned the incident.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಾವು ತೊಗೊಂಡು 5 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯಿತು, ಲಕ್ಷ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿರೋದು 30% ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಕಟ್ಕೊಂಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರಿ. ಕೊರೋನಾ ಟೈಮಿಂದ ಕಟ್ಕೊಂಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ದೌರ್ಜನ್ಯ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೊಡೆದು ಗಲಾಟೆಗಳು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಪ್ಪ ಬಿಡ್ಸೋಕ್ಕೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರು. ಅಪ್ಪದು ಸುನಿಲ್ಲು, ಇಂದ್ರಮ್ಮ, ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು ಬಂದು ಏಕೈಕ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೊಡೆದು ಮಾಡಿ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ನಾವು ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೇಳಿದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು 1 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ 11 ಲಕ್ಷ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿನೂ ನಮ್ಮಪ್ಪ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಕಾಲಾವಕಾಶ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೇನು ಅವ್ರು ಕಾಲಾವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ.
Well, that was the mother of, 2 women over here, 2 daughters over here, in fact, who's gone on to say that what's happened is that while they've taken the loan in 2016 and they had been paying the interest, 30% interest on this loan until the pre-COVID times, it was during COVID that they were unable to pay this loan. And while the lenders too had, in fact, taken them to the police station and a settlement was agreed upon, despite that, the unfortunate incident on Sunday where these women were, in fact, pulled out of their homes.
3 ತಿಂಗಳು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಏಕಾಏಕಿಯಾಗಿ ಸಂಡೇ ನಾವಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ತಂಗಿ ಮೇಲೆ ದೌರ್ಜನ್ಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಬಂದು ಆಯಿತು, ಏನೋ ಸಮಾಧಾನದಿಂದ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ, ಇದು ದೌರ್ಜನ್ಯ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸರಿ ನಡೀರಿ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ಗೆ, ಅಪ್ಪನೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಒಂಥರ ಫುಲ್ ಇದಾಗೋಯ್ತು ಮೇಡಮ್.
Very teary-eyed victim over here telling us that while the money, of course, is one thing, what happens to the dignity, what happens to the self-respect that these women were stripped of merely because they could not pay back these loans. Joining me right now is the Karnataka Home Minister. So first of all, I'd like to start by asking you, today we are seeing these 2 women over here. There are several women like them today who are in a position where they might not be able to repay the loans. But to be dealt with like this, sir, to be, for people to come to their house, disrobe them, strip them naked and assault them for not repaying money, sir, how far do you think this is right?
ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗೂ ನಾನು ಈ ಕೃತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಖಂಡಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಣ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಹಣ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಧಾನಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ. ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಏನಾರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ತಾವೇ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನು ಕೈಗೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇದು ಯಾರೂ ಕೂಡ ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಲಾರದಂಥ ಅಪರಾಧ ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೀತಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪೊಲೀಸರಿಗೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಕೇಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, 2 ಜನ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ತನಿಖೆಯನ್ನು ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಇದು ಆಗದಿದ್ದ ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ.
We already filed a sumoto case, and I spoke to the SP and also inspector. We sent to the email to send the report immediately. See, atrocity on women, I will condemn that, because we are celebrating 75th Suvarna Mahotsava independence. What is this we are talking about? We know that Gandhiji has already told the woman who walks without fear on the roads at 12 noon, then we can think the value, and also we can tell them, then we can tell the real independence has come.
Is there no place that they can go and complain and they can ask for protection? If not from the police, then from who else? I think this is unacceptable that the police did not register the complaint at the beginning itself. The other thing that we must ask ourselves is, why is it so difficult for students to get loan from nationalized banks? Why is it that the government does not make any kind of provision for people to get loans for higher education, and getting beaten for the sake of not giving a loan and returning a loan is absolutely pathetic.
Bringing you this breaking news now. Congratulations are pouring in for Eknath Shinde and also his deputy, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. And this one's coming in from the office of Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. So Uddhav Thackeray has congratulated Eknath Shinde. He has said, wish you do good in Maharashtra, and congratulations to the new Maharashtra Chief Minister. That is what has been tweeted out of the official handle of the office of Uddhav Thackeray, congratulating the newly appointed Chief Minister of Maharashtra and also the Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, saying that he's wishing them well for the future, and he also wishes that they do a good job in Maharashtra. Now, Alt News co-founder Mohammad Zubair, who was taken into custody by Delhi police on the 27th of June for allegedly hurting religious sentiments for an old tweet shared in 2018, has approached the Delhi court challenging his extended police custody. The Delhi court has agreed to hear his plea, challenging police remand tomorrow. Earlier today, Zubair was brought to Bengaluru by the Intelligence Fusion and Strategic Operations Unit of the Delhi Police Special Cell for further investigation. Remember, Zubair, during his interrogation, had told the Delhi police that the electronic devices used in 2018 were all in Bengaluru, which is also his residence. The court had remanded him for 4 days police custody for the recovery of the electronic devices, and the remand will end on the 2nd of July now. My colleague Imran now joins me live on the broadcast. Imran, now that Zubair has been brought in to Bengaluru, what all happened through the day? And of course, now that he's also gone ahead and he was in fact taken into custody on June. That remand is going to be ending in July, on July 2nd. What is next in this case, now that he's appealed to the court and he's challenged the police's plea and the remand tomorrow? That is also going to be taken up on behalf of Mr. Mohammad Zubair.
Well, absolutely. The Delhi police team, along with Zubair, left at early in the morning at around 8 o'clock. And after a 3-hour flight, they landed at his house at 11:30, 11:45. And they went on doing investigation for almost 4.5 hours. And the team left around 4:45 from Zubair's house back to Delhi. And in between, what we're getting to know from our sources that they took a mobile phone and also laptop, which the police had earlier said that Zubair had not produced before them. And they went looking for it. These are the devices from which the tweet was done in 2018, for which he has been arrested. Now, what are the documents or whatever information they get extract from this electronic device is quite crucial, and we have to see what they produce in the court as part of evidence in this Zubair's case, which opposition is saying is frivolous and it's done with malicious intent.
All right. Imran, thank you so much for joining us with all those details there. So we'd have to see what is next for Mohammad Zubair in this particular case. Remember, he was arrested for hurting religious sentiments in a case that dates back to 2018. And the investigations on the case really continue. And for checking up on the evidence that Zubair had claimed that are in Bengaluru, he has been brought to Bengaluru by the Delhi police. Let's, on that note, slip into a very, very short break now. But before I do that, ISRO's PSLV C-53, carrying 3 commercial satellites from Singapore, was in fact launched from spaceport in Sriharikota this evening. We are getting you these visuals, as I say, and take a very short break and come right back. Welcome back. You're watching Nation Tonight with me, Griha. Chinese leader Xi Jinping reached Hong Kong today ahead of the 25th anniversary of the British handover. The visit marks Xi's first travel off mainland China since the pandemic began. Chinese President Xi Jinping congratulated Hong Kong compatriots and extended his best wishes on the occasion. According to an official English translation carried by the state media, in a brief speech upon his arrival in Hong Kong, Xi said that Beijing would stick to the one country, two systems policy that he claimed would ensure the long-term prosperity and stability in Hong Kong.
在香港回归祖国25周年之际， 我再次来到香港，感到十分高兴。明天是香港回归祖国25周年庆典日，全国各族人民都将和香港同胞一道庆祝这件喜事。 在此，我向香港同胞致以热烈祝贺和美好祝愿。
The Western Military Alliance was wrapping up the summit in the Spanish capital today, where it issued a stark warning that the world has plunged into a dangerous phase of big power competition and myriad threats. This is in the areas of cyber attacks to climate change. NATO has for the first time singled out China as one of its strategic priorities for the next decade, warning about its growing military ambitions, confrontational rhetoric towards Taiwan and other neighbors, and increasingly close ties to Russia. Meanwhile, China expressed serious concerns over NATO's 10-year strategic concept and said that it wrongly defines China as posing a systemic challenge to global stability. On the other hand, Beijing also said that it would closely follow the moves of NATO and will not sit idly when a situation harms China's interests.
北约所谓的新战略概念文件，罔顾事实，颠倒黑白，顽固坚持对华系统性挑战的错误定位，抹黑中国对外政策，对中国正常的军事发展和国防政策说三道四，鼓动对抗对立，充满冷战思维和意识形态偏见，中方对此严重关切，坚决反对。
BCCI has announced that Jasprit Bumrah would lead India in the 5th Test match against England, making him the first fast bowler in 35 years to lead the Indian Test team. Rishabh Pant will be the vice-captain for the match. India's designated captain, Rohit Sharma, has been ruled out of the match after he tested COVID positive for the second time on Wednesday.
ये बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है, एक बहुत बड़ा ऑनर है। मेरे लिए टेस्ट मैच खेलना
एक मेरा ड्रीम था और ऐसा अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलना बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है, मेरे करियर की सबसे बड़ी अचीवमेंट्स में आता है. तो आई एम वेरी हैप्पी दैट आई हैव बीन गिवन दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी.
Sony Sports Network is back with India Tour of England and returns with its flagship live studio show, Extra Innings. The panelists and commentary panel will feature eminent former cricketers like David Gower, Graham Swann, Virendra Sehwag, Ajay Jadeja, Ashish Nehra, Sabah Karim and Mohammad Kaif, also Mr. W.V. Raman, R. Sridhar and many more. Watch the live coverage of the match and the much-anticipated fifth test between England and India on Sony 6, Sony 10-3, starting from the 1st of July at 3:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. In fact, my colleague Karishma caught up with Graham Swann. Take a look at this conversation.
The fifth and final India versus England test is all set to take place in Birmingham from the 1st of July. And joining us at the moment is former England cricketer Graham Swann. Graham, thank you so much for being here with us and speaking to us.
My pleasure. Good afternoon.
Graham, getting straight into it, it is the final test. How are you looking at both the teams who are poised to play this and, essentially India looking at creating history and England obviously looking to stop India from doing that?
Well, that's right. It's been a whole year since this test series was interrupted by COVID. Excuse me. I was a timely cough, wasn't it, when I talked about COVID? And it's actually a really good time for England. Because since that, our whole ethos towards Test cricket has changed. We've got a new management, new captain. It's very much a different animal. The England team that you Indian fans will see this time round, I hope you'll be impressed. I hope you'll enjoy the way they play their cricket. They're gone at the days of conservatism and boring cricket that have plagued England over the last 5 or 6 years. And they've been replaced by an almost maverick one-day approach. Where Ben Stokes as captain and Baz McCullum as coach really are looking to try and win from any situation, try and empower the players to be as bold and as aggressive as they can. And as a result, England have had 2 incredible test victories against New Zealand so far, the world test champions.
Moving on now, singer R. Kelly has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for using his R&B superstardom to subject young fans to systemic sexual abuse. The singer and songwriter was convicted of racketeering and also sex trafficking last year at a trial that gave voice to accusers who had once wondered if their stories were ignored because they were black women. A U.S. district judge imposed the sentence at a courthouse in Brooklyn on Wednesday. In fact, the prosecutors had asked the judge to sentence Kelly behind the bars for more than 25 years, while his defense attorneys had asked for 10 or fewer years, saying prosecutors' request was tantamount to a life sentence. Now, with that, I've come to the very end of this broadcast, and that's all the time that I had on Nation Tonight. But before I leave you, I'm getting you this one important story, and this is to do with the superstar and the megastar, Mr. Kamal Haasan. Now, he has become the latest recipient of Tamil actors who have received the UAE's golden visa. It is being said that Kamal was one of the first choices that were recommended by the UAE administration to receive the visa, which was in fact introduced in 2019. However, because of the pandemic and other reasons, Kamal Haasan could not receive it. So before Kamal, Vijay Sethupathi, Trisha, Mohanlal, Mammootty, Tovino Thomas, even Dulquer Salman and Jay Surya and also Prithvi Raj are some of the other members of the South Indian film fraternity who have received the coveted visa. In fact, from the Hindi film fraternity, Shah Rukh Khan, Sanjay Dutt, Sunil Shetty, Boni Kapoor and his family, and also Javed Akhtar and Shabana Hazmi have also been given the golden visa. And now it is Kamal Haasan who has received the golden honor. On that note, I'm slipping into a very short break. My colleague Tamanna joins you on the other side with Beyond the Headlines. Thank you so much for